Welcome to Legacy Conversations, a channel where we preserve military memories and history.
Hello everyone, it's Koos and I'm excited. And I'll tell you why I'm excited, because I met a guy called Koos Joubert. And he was number 3 in Armscor at one stage, and he knows absolutely everything about armored vehicles. And so he will definitely assist us with armored vehicles I've recorded during my trip in South Africa. But he also gave me 3 videos, 2 of which you've seen before, and if you haven't, please go and have a look. One is about the Casper, the other is about the Buffalo, and the other one is what we're going to see today, is about the SAMIL. Now, SAMIL is a military off-road vehicles, most of them. That's how you carry logistics around, and also at the armored vehicles, landmine-proof variants of them. Fantastic vehicles. In fact, it was probably still is one of my dreams to get hold of one of them and just to convert it into a camper, and to be old right across Africa trip with it. It might still happen, who knows? Can always hope. Rebecca's laughing here at the background, but yeah, we've been talking about that. Yes, I need a lot more Patreons before we'll be able to do that. But anyway, this video was probably already on the internet, because you know how it is. People just grab things and start broadcasting them. We don't do that. We ask for permission, and we got permission from Koos Joubert. It's one of the videos he gave to us. And so we're going to show you now about the birth of a SAMIL, where they come from, how they were used, different variants. Fantastic video, of course, professionally made. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. But before we start, let us just hear what the sponsor of this video has to say. And then we can look at the video further. There's something I want to bring to your attention, and that is George M. James. That's an author, and he wrote many, many books, dozens of books, and all of them has to do with South African military, has to do with espionage, counterterrorism, that type of thing. And each of those books are written with a specific purpose. And there are 53 of them. And George M. James has been a sponsor of this channel like in forever, since the very first video came out. So whatever George M. James books you buy, come back to Legacy. And they are available on audio, they're available on Kindle, they're available in paper, hardcover and softcover. All of them are available on Amazon. Some of the books are available in South Africa as well, in softcover. And I'll leave the details here. I urge you to have a look at it. Go to the website, have a look at the website, and I'm sure you're going to discover marvelous things there. I can be very blunt to you. If you like Legacy, if you want to support Legacy, want to support us in what we do, then please go and look at the George M. James books. Get hold of them. You're going to learn things which you didn't know. And a lot of the things we've discussed on Legacy has also come out in those books. And what is fascinating, those books were written before Legacy came. So they were deeper knowledge than what I think most of us would realize.
There is good reason why the SAMIL is regarded as one of the finest off-road vehicle ranges in the world. An outstanding high-mobility vehicle capable of negotiating all types of adverse terrain. The SAMIL's design is based on a concept from an acknowledged international leader in off-road vehicle technology, and modified to suit the harshest conditions of the African bush. Small wonder, therefore, that it has been the South African military's vehicle of choice for the last 25 years. Although formal development of the SAMIL began in 1979, the vehicle's origins date back to 1974, when the Armaments Corporation conducted various feasibility studies on the incorporation of a higher percentage of local content in trucks used by the South African Defence Force. Armscor's intention was not only to increase South Africa's self-sufficiency in this regard, but also to ensure maximum logistic support benefits for the Defence Force's vehicles. Numerous vehicles were evaluated to establish operational parameters, and the Defence Force eventually decided to standardize on vehicles in the 2, 5, and 10-ton classes, which would be manufactured by the private sector. 15 companies subsequently applied for the contract. Among them, Steelmobile Engineering, a member of the Messina Group, and General Motors. On its own initiative, Steelmobile had already acquired the technology and completed planning to significantly increase the local content of its own vehicles, and had also obtained manufacturing and distribution rights for the German Magirus Dietz truck. Negotiations between Armscor and Steelmobile began, and in August 1977, Steelmobile signed a contract with Magirus Dietz for the local manufacture and delivery of 700 2-ton, 503 5-ton, and 221 10-ton vehicles. Armscor approved the purchase contract in December 1977. An additional contract was also signed with General Motors for the purchase of 807 3-ton diesel Bedfords. This figure was later reduced to 300, while the number of 5-ton Magirus Dietz vehicles was increased by an additional 250. In November 1978, Steelmobile Engineering transferred all its rights and liabilities under the Armscor agreements to truck makers, a Sanlam subsidiary. At a meeting of the Armscor Board of Directors the following month, these formidable vehicles were renamed SAMIL 50 and SAMIL 100, an acronym for South African military. On April 5, 1979, Armscor signed a contract with truck makers for the manufacture of SAMIL vehicles. The contract was initially for 5 years, but eventually continued until the 31st of March, 1989. Truck makers delivered the first 2,234 production vehicles in the 1978-79 financial year. On the 27th of April 1981, General Lem, then Chief of the Defence Force, requested Armscor to replace the existing Magirus Dietz air-cooled engines in the SAMIL 20 and 50 series with ADE water-cooled engines. The obligatory fitment of these engines led to the naming of the non-military version of the vehicle, the SA Magirus or SAMAG, a range of 6-wheel drive, 4x4 and 6x4 trucks. Production of the new SAMIL Mark II series began in 1984. Truck makers delivered an average of 920 vehicles each year between 1979 and 1992. During this period, many variants of the SAMIL were developed, including several mine-protected vehicles to counter the escalating landmine threat of the Bush War. Up until the middle 70s, the Army had used a Bedford truck fitted with a 2-man mine-protected cab in its operations. This vehicle was known as the Zebra. The harsh terrain of the combat environment soon made it apparent that the Zebra was incapable of meeting the Army's high mobility requirements. Additionally, its 4-ton payload was too low to transport cargo. In 1976, the then Director of Logistics, General Oosthuizen, instructed Armscor to develop and produce 62 mine-protected cabs for the Magirus Dietz vehicles. The contract was awarded to Wolf Engineering. In 1978, 42 cargo dropside and 20 fuel Bowser vehicles were delivered for operational use. They were known as the Querfuel Mark I cab. By now, the SAMIL range of vehicles was in full production, and the South African Army instructed Armscor to fit the SAMIL 100 with mine-protected cabs. This was subsequently done, and the new vehicle was named the Querfuel Mark II cab. About 120 of these units were built by Steel Corps Engineering. By 1978, the landmine threat had reached critical proportions. The military decided to move off-road in dense bush conditions, and the Querfuel Mark II was upgraded to the Mark IIA version. Bush protection kits for the chassis, developed and tested by Armscor, were also included in the Mark IIA. Querfuel cabs for the SAMIL 100 were produced and mounted on various chassis configurations, including the cargo, fuel bowser, Vertungs recovery, 36-man bus, and tipper variants. The same cab design was adopted on the SAMIL 50 Mark I chassis, and about 140 of these cabs were produced by Steel Corps Engineering. The cargo dropside, water tanker, and recovery vehicle were among the variants produced from this design. Various configurations of mine-protected vehicles were also developed and produced on the SAMIL 20 Mark I chassis. These included the SAMIL 20 Rhino and SAMIL 20 Bulldog for the Air Force. The SAMIL 20 Eistafar, fitted with a 20mm anti-aircraft gun system. The Querfuel prototype for the South African Army. And production units for the civilian market. The Querfuel proved to be one of the safest mine-protected vehicles ever produced in the world, owing to its weight, height off the ground, and excellent cab design. It could withstand the simultaneous detonation of 3 TM57 landmines, or the equivalent of 21 kilograms of TNT explosives anywhere below the cab. Because the SAMIL Querfuels were so well protected, driving in the bush presented no problem. Many thousands of kilometers were covered across dense bush, under extremely high temperatures, and in very soft sand. On many occasions, the payload on the SAMIL 100 Querfuel was more than 13 tons, especially when carrying ammunition and heavy food supplies. Yet these reliable workhorses never failed to deliver their cargo to the fighting forces on time. 3 monocoque mine-resistant vehicles were also developed from the SAMIL range of components. The Sea Legs vehicle led to the production of 9 electronic warfare vehicles. The Mfezi ambulance, the Mfezi command vehicle, and Mfezi 6x6 were produced for the South African Medical Health Services, while 16 Tapir 4x4 weapon platforms produced were later sold to a foreign client for humanitarian demining operations. Sea Legs, Bateleur, Rhino, and SAMIL 50 Querfuel were also successfully demonstrated in foreign countries. Armscor also developed bush protection kits for the SAMIL 100 and SAMIL 50 soft-skin vehicles. Air, fuel, and hydraulic lines were tucked into the chassis, and bush bars and plastic fuel tanks were also fitted. These vehicles brought about significant cost savings during bush driving. There is no doubt that the mine-protected variants on the SAMIL range of vehicles saved many lives, which ensured a high morale among the soldiers. The production of SAMIL vehicles was terminated towards the end of 1992. Approximately 60 different variants had been derived from the SAMIL, including the SAMAR and SACOM non-military versions. No fewer than 16,864 SAMIL, SACOM, and SAMAR vehicles were built by truck makers. A further 585 were produced for civilian and other uses and sold by Armscor Marketing. Roymec Sandok, which today is known as BAE Systems Land Systems OMC, acquired the military business from truck makers in 1994. All SAMIL and related spares were moved to the company's Wadeville branch, from where the support and supply of spares for the SAMIL fleet was conducted. In September 1998, OMC moved the support division to its Benoni site. Today, all support functions for the South African National Defence Forces SAMIL fleet are managed from Benoni. The purchase of spares, deliveries and quality acceptance takes place at the OMC receiving area, after which all inspected material is transferred to stock. On receipt of an order, components are issued, packed and dispatched to destinations all over South Africa. The deployment of SAMIL vehicles throughout the country resulted in a nationwide requirement for the supply of spares, and the establishment of a dealer support network in areas where the vehicles were deployed. Following the end of the Bush War in 1990 and the return of substantial numbers of SAMILs to South Africa, the requirement of support in other centres increased, and the dealer network was expanded to cover the whole of South Africa. OMC is currently involved in the National Defence Forces Project Pepper and assists the Army support bases and associated units throughout the country in reconciling their stock levels, which will enable them to adjust to the proposed reduction of the SAMIL fleet over the next 10 years or so. Robust, reliable, and tireless, the SAMIL range of vehicles has made an invaluable contribution to the South African National Defence Force. Its 25 years of service is an inspirational achievement.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications.